So the biggest question I get from a lot of clients is, oh gosh, should I incorporate my business now, or should I form an LLC, and I should do a lot of things before I start my business. Well, I gotta tell you, I'm gonna give you a more practical piece of advice that kind of goes against the nature of my accounting background, which is, if you're starting to think about making a business, just go out and do it. Okay, just go out there and start making money, and if you find that you've gotten yourselves a missed form or something like that, the worst it may cost you is just a little bit of tax penalties, which is insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Now, if you are really, really concerned and you're a stickler for the rules, you've got to get everything handled and done and buttoned up, then let me give you a few pieces of advice. So number one is, as it relates to business taxes, most cities around the country have some form of tax regime or some form of business taxes that they like to assess. There are so many cities in this country that I can't give you the specifics on how each one works. I know because I'm based in Los Angeles, there is an LA business tax, and whether you're an independent contractor, you're a formal storefront, or some kind of big business, you're going to have to pay some form of tax there, and you have to go through the Office of Finance's website. You can Google it, LA Office of Finance, and you can register your business for business tax purposes. Now, if you're in Santa Monica, if you're in Beverly Hills, there's other districts and different rules around business taxes. Glendale has their own. I mean, this is just within LA County is what I'm talking about here. So as you can see, there's just so many different forms of taxation on the city side that you've got to get accustomed to. So for the most part, it's basically do a Google search on your city, find out what their requirements are, and then register to do business within your city, and you should be covered. As it relates to federal income taxes and structure, so why go through an LLC or corporation? The primary purpose of those is really for liability protection. Especially in California, there really isn't a tax benefit to having an LLC. So you're not really going to see anything other than actually increased compliance costs. You're going to have to pay, in California for example, $800 a year just to run an LLC. Now, there is a tax advantage to making an S election, which can be done either through an LLC or an corporation, which would confer some benefits to you on the self-employment tax front. I would tell you, as a general rule, I'm not saying this is hard and fast, but as a general rule, your net income from your business should be roughly between $75,000 to $100,000 before you start considering moving into an S election status, okay? Now, if you want to find out more about that, you should be talking to me, and I'll be happy to guide you through the whole process and figuring out whether or not it makes sense for you to do an S election, as there are increased requirements. You've got to maintain a really strict set of books, you've got to start putting yourself on payroll, you've got a separate tax return to do, just to name a bunch of things. So those compliance costs could potentially make it not worth your effort, or as you continue to grow your business and make tons and tons of money, then it would make perfect sense for you to do so. In terms of using maybe a C corporation for your business, I got to tell you, that's a whole nother can of worms, really. There's a huge amount of rules around it, and you do have potential double taxation issues when it comes to C corporations. So it may or may not make sense for you. Again, that would require much more of an overall tax plan, which is kind of beyond the scope of this video. LLCs are typically very easy to form in any given state. Again, like I said earlier, they provide primarily just liability protection, and they typically never confer a tax advantage to the taxpayer. So I hope this helps you out, at least in thinking about what you need to do when it starts your business. I'm going to tell you again, the main thing is make money, then make money, then make money. But if you're really a stickler for the rules, focus on the business tax registration with your local city, and then afterwards consider what type of money you're making this year and then engage a local CPA to help you out. Thank you.